All right, welcome out, everybody.
Hey.
It's good to see or hear you, whichever one you're doing.
We don't see or hear anybody. we're the one talking, and they see us.
I know, you're right. All right, I got it. So, all right, Mr. Nick, I have a
Yes.
thought for you.
Thought?
I'm curious. So, there was a season like 3 years ago,
Yes.
right? 3
I
years,
remember
2 to
years
3 years ago. 2 to 3 years ago, you didn't shut down, but the world shut down,
Right.
right? I mean, you were deemed necessary, and so
For some reason.
life did not stop at all. And so we had this like plethora of people everywhere that were like stuck at home, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything, and were, bored out of their gourd. I mean, just like beside themselves.
Yeah. Wonder what that's like.
Yeah, you never did experience that.
I never got to experience the weeks
Right.
of being home.
So my question is this. We are now 3 years, right? We're coming out of, we're in this season where that season is way behind us, and people have gotten back into life.
Right.
My observation is that people went from busy lives to shut down lives to I am so free that I am going to be so busy with everything I can possibly do
Yeah.
because being stuck at home was something I never want to experience again. And so therefore, I will not say no to anything.
Yeah.
So, but you, on the other hand,
say no all the time.
but you stayed so busy that life didn't change for you,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So, do you feel like you're busier today, less busy, and how do you see people around you?
How do I see people like?
Are they busy? Do you see people busy, or do you feel like most people are kind of? My view is people are crazy busy. Like they have just gone over the top being busy. Like,
Yeah, I think that like everybody has taken like that time of being apart and like been like freaked out. Now that we're able to, we're out of that. I was actually jokingly thinking about this the other day about talking about COVID and on the podcast, and was like, yeah, because it's not a real thing anymore. I mean, it is, and I know that it was serious, but like now you hear somebody, oh yeah, I got COVID. Like what?
well, you get the flu,
Right.
you get colds. I mean, it's like it's a common part of our daily existence.
Yeah. But that wasn't the case 3 years ago. And it's
No,
just
it
so
was
funny
not.
that like it changed so drastically. But I think that people are like, I will say right after like as stuff started to kind of reopen, I think that people like were like, yes. I think it's starting to actually calm down now.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, I think that we, as a group of people, my generation after us, we love to be involved with things and do things all the time and never say no to anything,
Okay.
which leads us to being worn out and drugged down and,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's just a part of who we are and part of that.
Do you think it's your generation or it's a culture?
It might be our culture where it's at that like, I mean, part of it's that FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Right.
And like, well, what if we did hang out and do that thing that we should have done last week, or what if we did hang out with those people? It's just a FOMO, I think. And so we just agree to do things just for the sake of doing them instead of actually having a purpose to do them.
So I like the way you're saying that actually, because it leads me to, so we don't have little kids.
Mm-hmm.
and you don't either.
Yeah.
Oh, care to share more?
Well, coming soon to a Walmart near you.
Oh, wait. I knew you could get anything at Walmart. Always less.
Save money, live better.
Yeah. Save money, live better.
Not sponsored,
Yeah,
unfortunately. No,
that'd be good.
Next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Congratulations are in order.
Yeah.
Baby Parish
Yeah. Very
on the
excited.
way.
My wife, like, when I was walking out to come over, she was like, "Are you gonna announce it on the podcast?" And I was like, "Maybe." I don't know.
You heard it here. Maybe you heard it here first. And
Yeah.
maybe
could have
you
heard it here
didn't.
first.
Could have.
So.
But with that, you don't have kids yet, and we didn't have young kids at home. So I feel like that I see a lot of families where their kids were stuck at home,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're like, my kid is going to be involved in anything and everything under the sun.
Because they don't want them to be developmentally like or behind because of the lack of interaction, which I understand.
Totally get it.
Like I understand that, and I think that like I've seen some like COVID babies that are like completely dependent on like they cannot interact with other people,
Right.
Because like they just the only person they've interacted with for 3 years or whatever is mom or dad.
Absolutely.
grandparent.
Yeah,
And
100%.
so they can't handle, other people. But I think that like parents as a whole are like, now that we're out of it, like, yeah, I want to get my kid super involved in everything because they're trying to make up for that lost time, and it's just unnecessary.
Do you think it's to make up for lost time, or do you think it's the fear of what if the world has to shut down again?
I don't know that we could ever do that again. I think we'd have full-blown riots if we did that again.
You think so?
Um,
I would like to believe that would be the case, that humanity would say, enough's enough.
I don't know. I feel like if we ever tried to shut down again, I would be like, well, this time I'm taking the 2 months off that everybody else got.
I'm not essential.
I'm not essential. Shut down all the grocery stores.
Yeah.
But no.
People will starve
Yeah, people will starve.
because we don't grow our own food anymore.
Well, yeah.
So COVID has obviously had a huge effect on humanity and people, and this is culture in general. This is one of the things that I've been noticing and watching. Like just how busy families are, how busy people are, and when I talk to them, and I'll ask questions and kind of like so what are you doing? Why are you doing? Like you said earlier, like without really a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really ever hear a definitive answer other than we spent months at home.
Yeah.
That's usually the thing.
It's a terrible answer.
Right. But it's the extent of the answer. Like that's as far as they can go. Well, we spent months at home. So I'm like, well, is that mindset then I was stuck here, I've got to catch up, as you said, right? I got to make up. Or is it the fear of, man, I don't know if the government's going to do this again. We'd like to believe that it can't happen again.
I'd like to believe.
But we don't. But we're seeing. So how would you say, from a work standpoint, pre-COVID, post-COVID, when it comes to getting employees, retaining employees, and work ethic, do you think COVID has had any effect on that, or do you think it's just in general people have just changed?
People have just changed.
They've just changed.
I think, you look back at, baby boomers and, people who worked their whole lives, from a young age. They were married early, married young.
Gen X too.
Yeah, married young, worked, from in their teens, worked their whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, into the next generation where people are like, I would say that like, as time's gone on, I won't say life's gotten easier, because that's not true, but our access to things has gotten easier,
100%.
and the range of jobs has gotten easier.
Okay.
I mean, you think about it. You had a very select. If you're a young man that didn't have an education in 1920, you had a select group of things you could do. You could farm, you could mine, work on the railroad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You had a very select group of things you could do. Now you could learn how to do anything. I was actually looking at phlebotomists. You know what a phlebotomist is? This is going to creep you out probably.
No, it draws blood.
Yes. It's a specialist.
I do know what that is.
It's a specialist who knows how to draw blood. You can take online classes and learn in 48 hours how to be a phlebotomist.
I don't want anybody that has done that.
You have to have 8 hours. I think it was 8 hours of practical hands-on.
I still don't want anybody getting their 8 hours of practical hands-on on me if they've learned that way.
I'm just saying.
No way.
I'm just saying. And you can earn up to $52,000 in, I think it's California, $52,000 a year as a phlebotomist.
Well, $52,000 in California is
not very much.
Nothing.
But the point is like $52,000 a year.
So it's a side job
for a 48 hours of education.
Yeah, that really creates a completely different world to people.
That's what I'm saying is that there's so many different avenues to make money now. I mean, you don't have to even have a full-time job. You could do. I mean, my brother does. What is the delivery thing?
Uber,
like Uber Eats, or
right.
He does those
DoorDash.
things, and works part-times doing just subcontracting things, and makes a decent living off of doing random things. And when his jobs that he's like his construction stuff isn't going, in the winter months where they can't do stuff as much, he'll pick up on the Uber Eats or whatever. And he makes a relatively decent life doing that, and pays all his bills, and that's it. I mean, it's all he doesn't really have that. I think that's what I'm trying to get to is like it's not as much drive to own a house, to
climb the corporate ladder
in the next generation, because they don't need to survive.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think people have transitioned from material goods then?
No, I think it's a difference of like, it's not about material goods as much as it's about how little I have to do to get what I need and what I want.
Right.
And it's more about the shortest, quickest way to get to something instead of the most sustainable way.
Good word, sustainable.
Like you can quickly get $5,000, right?
Sure.
Relatively.
Yep.
We could figure out a way to get $5,000 today if we had to.
Okay.
But can you quickly get to $5,000 every day?
No, it's not. Oh, excuse me.
So we put into a little bit more. Like you and I could probably quickly earn $100 a day.
Sure.
Easily.
Okay.
Right? But how do we make that sustainable to where it's, every day you're racking in $100 with doing the same amount of work? Well, people don't care about that anymore. They don't care about the sustainability of it. They just want the quick, here's your $500.
So I know that everywhere I see signs like people are hiring, like they're desperate need of help. So where are all these people making money then? Because there's got to be jobs somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think there's so much, like people dog on Walmart for self-checkouts, right?
Yes, they do.
You're probably one of those people.
You know what? I'm indifferent about it. Honestly, you know what bothers me more? Someone stops me at the door and checks me. That probably bothers me more than anything. I honestly don't. If I'm buying cars, I prefer to check myself out anyway, because I want to bag them myself so they don't get messed up.
Messed up,
I
right.
honestly don't really the self checkout does not bother me.
Yeah.
It's the hey, I need to stop you at the door and check your stuff. If you trusted me to check it out, but that's just a whole nother.
So
We're getting off topic.
The reason I said that is Walmart invested in self-checkouts because they knew that the working class eventually would not be enough to sustain having open registers,
Absolutely.
having manned registers.
And it has shown. It
And
has
it's shown.
proved.
It's
Absolutely.
proven.
100%.
It's
yes.
proven, like, when you go to any Walmart or any retail,
Any
really,
retail place.
the hardest area to staff in your building is your front end.
Why is that?
Because
Is it people don't
You
want
have to interact with people,
Okay.
and most of them are crappy.
Does that have an additional consequence because of COVID and the interaction with people and that anxiety to interact with people? Or is it just because most people are crappy?
I mean, I think a lot of people are. I will say a lot. I won't say a lot of people. I think there are a lot of people. There are a few people that make working in retail really hard, and those people outweigh the bright spots.
Gotcha.
And so, like, when you get that really crappy customer who you can do everything you can, you bend over backwards to try to help them, and doesn't matter, you're still a piece of crap anyways. All right, that's ruined your day.
Yeah.
So imagine being a 15, 16-year-old this is your first job.
Right.
And now you're working on the front end and you have this interaction with this adult who's just telling you how terrible you are at your job.
Yeah, that's no good.
And then you're like, well, why would I want to do this?
Absolutely. Because as an adult would say that.
Yeah, an adult wouldn't want to do that.
Right.
But this is their first job and you're like, you're terrible at your job. Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to get any better.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That makes
So-
sense. That's fair.
But you look at it retail, like that's one of the hardest places to work because you have to interact with customers. Think about it. You just stand there all day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and people are like, yeah, you just have to stand there. Woohoo. But it gets hard to stand on those concrete floors in the same spot,
Not moving.
not moving
versus
around a lot.
walking around.
I mean, walking around, either one of those concrete floors are unforgiving.
Yeah.
But that's another subject.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's construction workers that are on concrete floors all day
Yeah.
long too. So I'm not negating it. I'm just saying like concrete floors
are
are
just
rough.
rough. But you got these concrete floors. You're just standing there. You're not moving around a lot. You have to interact with customers. I would say a good 20 to 30% make your life harder, like by being difficult or making situations that don't have to be difficult,
Right.
more difficult.
Do you think people are entitled?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I think that everybody thinks that I'm owed what I'm owed, and you can't tell me that I'm not owed that.
How many people are like the customer's always right?
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah, all the time. I'm like, well, but you're not. You're not. It's seriously like And here's the thing: I'm more likely to help you if you're like, hey, this is the situation, and you're reasonable. As soon as I walk up, if you're kind of being a jerk, you've already lost me, and I'm probably going to say, sorry, bye.
Yeah.
I mean, just to be honest.
Right.
But because I interact with hundreds of situations a week of like me having to go deal with a grumpy customer or upset customer, and most of it's, well, they were rude. Why were they rude? What did they say? Well, they said I couldn't do this.
But you can't.
But you can't. That our policies, they're just going by our policies. What they say. Well, I don't care what your policies say. Well, but that's what they're trained to do this way.
Mm-hmm.
They're trained to say, last week, I think it was last week, I had an air mattress. So air mattresses are one of those weird things. You can only exchange them within a certain time frame.
That's different than all the other stuff?
Yeah. A lot of stuff it's like, but it's a shorter time frame. I think it's like 90 days or something like that. You have I think it's 30 days for air
90
mattresses.
90 days seems like a long time.
For air mattresses, 30 days, I think, with a receipt. You can only exchange it. I mean, there's certain things you don't do that, but he was like, I don't want to exchange it. I want a completely different one. That's fine. You have to pay the difference. Well, no, I shouldn't have to pay the difference.
That's not even logic.
Yeah, and so she's getting crappy at me because she wants to change out what was like a $50 air mattress for a $70 air mattress and doesn't want to pay a $20 difference.
Well, you would have paid $20 more the first time if you would have purchased it. Again, logic. Yep.
But they feel entitled to, well, I paid for it already, so I shouldn't have to pay for it. I'm having to bring the extra trip in to exchange it because whatever happened, it had a hole in it or my dog put a hole in it, which is probably more likely the case.
Right.
But now I have to take the time out because my time's more valuable than what you do.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to.
Right. Which is just basically not respecting humanity, not having respect for a human being as a human being.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about COVID and how it's changed things, do you think that it catapulted what you call OGP?
Oh yeah, online grocery pickup and delivery.
Mm-hmm.
It's OPD now, I think.
Oh.
OPD, online pickup and delivery.
Oh.
They changed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's because it's all encompassing.
Yeah, because you can literally do anything through. I feel like this whole episode's just a plug for Walmart, but
it's really not. I'm just talking about how COVID has changed the world.
Yeah. I do. I think.
I mean,
but
some areas bad, but some areas good, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is a good one. I mean, I love OGP. I only use like a pickup and delivery, and I work at Walmart.
Right.
I pretty much only use it. It's just convenient, simple. But you have what is the Myers, or not Myers, Kroger. What do they have?
Yeah.
They have
I
some
should
kind
know.
of pickup.
Yeah, I don't know what it's
I can't
called.
remember what it's called though. But they have a pickup. Target has,
Yeah, they
same day pickup.
right.
But they're all, all these major companies are like, yeah, we need to get in on this because it's such a convenient thing for your customers, and they're like looking at it and they're like, this is a huge business. I mean, just over the last 2 years, in our 12 stores of, our like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this.
You probably don't. If you have to say that, you probably shouldn't say
I
it.
can tell you that the amount of money done through OGP
Mm-hmm.
has doubled in the last year.
Okay, so each year it's gotten more and more.
Almost doubled, and is pushing over it's over 6 digits.
Prior to COVID, what was that department like?
It was just in its like
It was in its infancy.
infancy. I mean, you're talking about like your busy stores were doing 75 to 100 orders a day.
Okay.
Now, last Friday, of course, it was Black Friday. My store did over 800
In a day.
in a day.
Dang. But I mean, it's not just retail. I mean, like there's so many places that do it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, like you said, it's grocery stores, retail. It's all kind of encompassed, obviously. But like restaurants started doing it.
Just pull your food up. I mean, they bring it out to your car.
Right.
It's my favorite thing to do in the morning. Sometimes
Have food brought out to you.
food brought out to me. I park in the spot and wait for you to bring me my food.
I think what I was really, COVID has such a bad thing with it, and it really divided a country. It really created a lot of division in humanity. Everybody had a different opinion about various things, whatever it was, your day-to-day life, how your life worked, how your work was ran, what your boss's decisions they were making, corporate decisions, church decisions. I mean, all of it across the gamut. I mean, there were a lot of pastors that were like, COVID shut down their church, and they never went back.
Yeah.
I mean, like they lost their ministry. We had churches that literally had splits over like masks and hand washing and various silly things like that. And but it really has changed the dynamics of the world. I think I wanted to kind of connect with some good things because I think that when I'm in the school corporation, working with high schoolers, helping them with some of their, like various things. My wife's obviously a teacher, fourth grade teacher, right? So she sees these students. And right now we are seeing, you said, earlier, did you use the word COVID? I don't remember what you said, but
COVID babies.
Yeah, you said COVID babies,
COVID
right?
kids.
COVID kids. That was, yeah. And like what we're seeing now with COVID kids is like those kids that didn't get that kindergarten, first grade, that like preliminary, that very basic thing, like they're in third, fourth, fifth grade and they're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have kids who were maybe in middle school or going into high school who are now trying to graduate and they're struggling because they miss some of these like primary moments in their life where they didn't transition with maybe the class.
Yeah.
So they didn't get a full class. They didn't get some of their like basic foundational things. They didn't get human interaction. They had tons of fear placed on them. You had parents with different opinions and ideas, and so we have, you earlier you were talking about baby boomers and Gen X, and the different generations, right? I'm concerned about where we're going to see things in 10 years,
Yeah.
right, or 20 years, of what does 2040 look like with now 20 years of a generation post-COVID that had a huge impact. I'm saying that because earlier you were like, if they tried to do it again and shut it down, there's no way it'd happen.
Yeah. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
I think that they would struggle to even enforce half of what they did.
Well, there's only so much room in the jails.
Yeah.
Right. Of course they can fine you and they can do all that kind of stuff. There's money. There's a financial side of it that they could go after, but the world has also adapted for those purposes, right? And so, like the ability to enough lessons were learned where school would probably be done differently.
Yeah.
Right. Where workforces. Well, like how many people now work remotely? Like before, that wasn't even an option. It wasn't even a thing that I could remember having this conversation with an employer like, I drive 77 miles one way, it would probably you'd probably get better productivity out of me if I just worked. I'm on the computer all day long doing takeoffs. I'm literally looking at a screen all day long. I could do it at my house or I could do it in your office. If I do it at my house, I get to sleep in a little extra longer. I can walk in and eat lunch when I'm ready. And you just have to, you're going to expect that if you're paying me a wage, one, you're going to trust that I'm honest, that I'm going to give you my due diligence of time to earn that wage, and I'm going to do things well. We can talk via, of course, Zoom and all that platform blew up, obviously. But in COVID, but prior to that, people still did remote meetings. Remote meetings have been around for a while. So if you needed to do a meeting, you could do it. But it was amazing to me how, you got to be here in person. There's just something about being that together. And now they're like, well, if I don't have that office space, that's less money I have to put. I can actually have a smaller office footprint for my overall company. I'm actually getting more productivity out of people. Like, it's changed the dynamic. And so earlier when we were talking about work and people doing jobs and all kind of stuff, is like, I feel like that's what's changed a lot is you don't see as many people out going to jobs because they're like, if I can work from the house, maybe I'll take a little bit less money. I'll switch. Let me say it this way: I'll switch jobs, take a little bit less money, and get a job that's working from home. Versus, I'm going to work at this corporation and I'm going to try to climb the ladder because I want the next title, I want the next promotion, I want to increase my bonus for the sake of I like working remotely, and I'm okay with less money.
Comfort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you're listening. I don't know. Put in the comments something like that. It's like if you could make the same money or maybe a little bit less, but work from the comforts of your home, would you make that change, or do you just love your job so much that you're like, nah, I'd continue to do this?
I would 100% if I could make within $10,000.
Really?
I'd take a $10,000 pay cut to work from home.
To work from home.
Yeah.
But that's because you're a type of person, though. You have the ability to like push yourself to be do the work.
I would be. I could still be productive at home.
Yeah. What if they just had like this computer, this robot thing, had a screen of your face, and it just walked around the store all day long, and you could interact with people through that?
That'd be so nice if I could just like type out my response and they could talk to it.
Yeah, and it would be like a robotic voice. No, it's live. You're talking to them.
No, I don't want to do that. Can I mute? Can I is it like a headset for like gaming? Can I mute and unmute and like turn it off? Like, no.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Or you want. I don't think it'd be too. It would be too hard for you to type. You would have to have that interaction where someone's being a jackwagon and you have to interact with them. You just don't have to be in front of them.
Yeah. And make it a little bit easier, and I could do it from the comfort of my couch.
Are we on the path to WALL-E?
Our planet being trashed? Mm-hmm. Probably.
I mean, people just being lazy and in something, in
a chair.
In a chair, extremely overweight, unhealthy.
Maybe.
I mean, WALL-E was a deal.
WALL-E was prophetic.
Do you think so? Or was it just a good movie? Was it a good movie?
Was it a good movie? I don't know.
I don't know. Did you see it?
My wife loves the movie. I can't stand movies where there's no talking. I really struggle with no dialogue being in the whole, like, the 97% of the movie, the only words that are said are WALL-E. Struggling with the movie. Sorry.
So did you have a hard time, like, tracking with the movie then?
Yeah, probably. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've watched it, but
yeah. I thought it was a great movie, and mostly it was because I was just like, that feels like a picture being painted of if people can figure out how to not do physical labor, not how to like actually physically do work. And I'm not, I think that sometimes people just look at like, well, construction, there's like certain trades out there that are physically demanding. Man, listen, jobs are demanding.
Yeah.
They all have an element of physically demanding. I don't care what you're doing. Across the board. I mean, even in town, if you're an ice cream dipper, that's hard on your hand, forearms.
Ice cream elbow.
You get that cramp in your forearm. It starts getting, and a good summer of that, you build up a forearm like none other, which is really good for swinging bats if you're going to be a baseball player. So, anyway,
you heard it first.
Well, maybe
you're going to be a baseball star. Get a job as an ice cream scooper.
That's one of them. You need to go work out too. Don't skip that. So, ice cream scooper. So anyway, all that to say, I feel like COVID has definitely changed the world, but I think there's some good things that came out of it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't know I can come up with too many more.
No, I think the introduction of last thing I'll say, introduction of e-learning can be great. It has the potential to be great.
We may have to have a whole show on that.
E-learning.
Yeah, you're going to have to convince me.
Okay. Well, I won't.
So-
I'll stop there then.
All that to say,
A lot to say.
COVID had an impact.
All right. Well, it did.
We're out.
Have a good day.